What's up, you guys? Welcome back to the Project Manga Podcast. I'm M.A.N.G.A.
It's your boy M.A.N.G.A.
And we are back with tangential tie-ins. I'm not going to try to give, the kind of crazy introduction that Eagle gave for the start of the second season in the Jump series, because that shit was incredible. I kind of want to let him have that moment, let that ride. But we're going to get right into things here. We're with a guest that we had for the very first tie-in episode that we ever did. And,
the boy's back.
And we're back with the guy Klasik, a really good friend of ours. How are you doing, man?
Doing good. Klasik's in the building.
That's great.
That's
Klasik anime.
That's great. That's great. And yeah, and when I say a really good friend, we actually in real life kind of go back a couple years now, almost a decade. I feel like. So yeah, he's been a writer for a good minute now.
Quite some time.
Kicking it when we had the light mustache. It was
yeah. Yeah, man.
I was kicking it when our mustaches weren't really there.
Yeah, straight up. Our mustaches hadn't come into their own yet.
It wasn't all the way connected.
Yeah. I mean, mine still isn't all the way connected, but I mean, it's still in its infancy.
Yeah, me neither. That's why I keep it clean.
Yeah, man. But Eagle's on a boat. He's on a boat. He's in Miami or he's going somewhere.
Andy Samberg and them over there on a boat,
Yeah. he's doing all types of
Lemonhead, my dad's boat.
Yeah, he's doing all types really fun hot weather shit.
Wow.
So while he was gone, for those who have seen our season 2 content schedule, you'll probably be pretty confused at the topic tonight, because it is not what it says on the schedule, but we just didn't really have a really good understanding of exactly when he was going to be gone. So we're gonna switch this.
We ain't following schedule type whatever anyway. So we might diverge from time to time.
But whatever. I mean, it's fine though, because the very first tie-in episode that we did for this series, for this show entirely, was this topic tonight. So it's good to come back to it, because we're going to be
the stars have aligned.
Yeah, right. Really though, haven't they? Right. So he's gone, and he wasn't on that episode anyway. So so it's great that Klasik's schedule is on par with ours this time, because we've been trying to get Klasik back on the show for a while now. Yeah. And if
money's too busy for us, he's out here making moves out here.
Hey, time is money.
No,
you ain't lying.
I'm glad that it worked out this way, because then to kick off season 2 of tangential tie-ins, we can go right back to that topic, which is looking back at classic anime. So if you haven't seen the first iteration of this episode, definitely feel free. I'll put the link in the description for it. Go back and watch that and see the very first tie-in episode that we ever did. We're still using Zoom back then. So that client, it was a little bit wonky on audio, but
better placement of pictures.
Yeah.
It would cut us off or whatnot. Yeah,
there was a really bad audio ducking issue, but I mean, still an amazing episode nonetheless. If you want to see where the origin, of this series started, that was a really good episode. But in regards to the topic tonight, we're gonna try to make sure that we don't spend too much time rehashing some of the stories that or some of the shows that we had in the previous episode. But we're basically looking at when we were in the infancy of our fandom, what all of our favorite shows were that helped us get into into this fandom that we have for anime and manga, right? So all of the nostalgic shows that we covered before and that everyone thinks of when they think of this topic, like Yu Yu Hakusho, original Dragon Ball, Evangelion, things like that, were all discussed on the previous episode, and we can definitely lightly touch on those again, because every video is someone's first video. So, if we want to talk about the legends real quick, that would be totally cool too. But in regard to the actual conversation at hand, we all, like we usually do with tie-in episodes, have a couple personal picks that we've chosen that we want to go in depth on, and then we fill in the gaps with any lightning round picks, is what we call them, that come to mind, or that we feel like we should lightly touch on, considering how relevant they are to the topic. So I'm just gonna go ahead and jump right into it here, just because this is one that I feel like we definitely should have brought up in the last episode and didn't. But Full Metal Alchemist is definitely a classic anime to me. We're looking at I think the 2003 is officially when the first one came out. When the first one came out, and I mean, I don't really want to spend too much time on Brotherhood just because like that wasn't out back when I was coming up in the anime game. But Full Metal Alchemist, the first season in 2003, was a really important series to me because it introduced themes, in cartoons that I hadn't really seen before, like
100
atheism, you know what I mean, yes. and science, and and it was like, I don't want to get too personal and like and talk about like things, but it was I was raised Catholic in a very Christian household, and
aren't we all?
Yeah, sure. And coincidentally, like when I stumbled upon this series, it was during a time when I like had really started to like question that faith for the first time. So, like it was crazy seeing, like all of my like thoughts that I thought, I was wrong for having, be outwardly spoken by the main characters of, this show that I had found. So it was crazy with the, and in the 2003, when it starts off with the Cornello shit, you know what I mean? And and he's like, this is a false prophet. Like, I promise you, he's not doing what he says that he's doing. And then when he brings the bird back to life in front of everyone, Edward's like, no, man,
that's fake.
Like, no, like, I don't know how yet, but like, because he's like, does he have a Philosopher's Stone? I heard the Philosopher's Stone is here.
Right,
it's gotta,
That part, bro, that part makes me kind of touch into like our reality. Like, and this is something that's really touchy. It's like, I like how you brought up the religion, bro, because it's like that power, the use of power to manipulate the masses.
Yeah, man.
You know what I mean? And that is like a spark of that idea, that moment in the show.
Yeah, dude.
I like that in real quick.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, no, it was so important. No, anybody who was questioning like what they believed in, like, I don't know, especially like for when that came out, I was probably like, I don't know. I was actually probably, I want to say around like 17 around then.
Yeah.
And I mean, at that time, I was wilding. I wasn't listening to no rules.
Yeah.
Especially no God's rules. Fuck all that shit.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, when I see this and it's like, man, when you just grow up, you're just like, man, this shit don't sound right. This sounds fucked up as hell. Like, even when you're like 10, 11, you're just like,
it doesn't.
I don't know. You're like, cross your arms, scratch your head.
At the same time, it's like, yo, I'll kill you if you don't listen to me. Like,
that's religion in general. That's why it's fucked up. Bro. That's why it's fucked up.
A whole nother discussion.
Hell yeah,
Yeah, but I mean, it was just so, like, it was so calming to because this is the first time, because like you don't get that kind of shit in American TV, especially not back then. You know what I mean? So it was
government won't allow it.
Yeah, so like all of the anxiety and like all of the uncomfortability, that you feel when you start thinking about those things, because the indoctrination is so strong, that you get uncomfortable just like having like thoughts like those. And so like when I start like watching this show, and there's such a confidence to Edward and Alphonse, as they're outwardly, like showcasing this sacrilege or this blasphemy to the religion of the area that they're in, you know what I mean? And it's and they're they're just so cool about it, and it's like holy shit, these guys are badasses, and and I resonate so much with the ideas and the words that these characters have, and there's so many badass moments even outside of like that, that them attacking Cornello and that area of the world's religion and whatnot, like when Rose is man, dude, it's such, and like Kiko will always say, like 2003 Full Metal Alchemist is a much more emotional story, you know what I mean? And it feels like things
hits a little harder in a lot of ways.
Yeah, it feels like things matter a little bit more, and when Rose is talking about how, her husband died and Cornello's going to bring him back. And, like she is 100% driven by that like need and by that, want to have her husband back. And Cornello is promising that to her. So now her beliefs are so, tied emotionally to what she desires that no matter how much sense they start making, she only just gets angry at them because she's like, you're raining on my parade here. Like, I think I'm about to get my husband back. And you can see that she's starting to like understand that they're making sense. You know what I mean? In that arc, and you could see her losing it. She's like, no. And he's going to bring back my husband. And Edward and Alphonse are like, you want to see what happens when you try to bring someone back to life? You know what I mean? Like shows him, rips
the sleeve off too.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And
I remember that moment.
Yeah,
and it's like, Rose, look,
look at it. Yeah,
this is what fucking happens when you try to fucking play God in this bitch. Like, no.
Just when it comes to playing God, that whole concept, that moment when he went to that realm, when it happened, when they attempted to do the
in the gate,
that face he saw, the eeriness of it, like that was like, you don't know if it's not evil, but it's not good. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly.
It's you know what I'm saying? Like it's almost like, that shit was a powerful moment. Forgive my language.
Yeah, for sure, dude. For sure. Yeah.
No, I just overall though, like especially since like when we had Sensei LeGlove on, shout outs to the guy. Yeah, we had a little bit of because he really fucks with Brotherhood super hard, right? Yeah. And I never want to like discredit Brotherhood. Like Brotherhood is great for its own reasons. Yeah. They can both be great. Like man, the fucking Twitter community and just like I don't know, man, just these fucking sweaties in general. I always want to like. I always want to fucking like hard fucking compete, competitive, everything. Like it's like, bro, you can love both for different reasons.
You don't always have to draw lines in the sand whenever someone brings something up. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
No, them necks are too sweaty, man. They need to fix that shit. I'm tired of this shit because it's like I can't even go on Twitter without somebody like arguing over the dumbest shit I ever seen. But whatever. Hey, back to like I love how they're both. They both have strengths, that you can appreciate in both of them. Like the thing that I love that separates 2003 with Brotherhood, the biggest thing overall is how homunculus are made. Yeah, and homunculus are made in the 2003 version. Whether it follows the fucking manga or not, it doesn't matter. It's still a fucking great idea, and it's still a wonderful story how when you fail at human transmutation, you create some fucking nasty-ass fucking human blob on the ground.
Byproduct.
And then, byproduct, exactly right. And then you feed them red stones, and they, like form into a human or whatever, a humanoid type being. Yeah. And it just, that's so crazy that, like, Ed and Al have to face their mom. Fucking Scar has to face Lust, whatever her name. They don't tell her what the name is, but Lust is, he was in love with Lust, and that was his brother's wife. And when his brother tries to bring Lust back, you had to give something equal, and he lost his reproductive organs.
Of alchemy though, like it's equal exchange. Yeah. Like,
well, and especially because they'd be like, okay, I know how to make a human body, like what a human body is actually constructive scientifically, like X amount of fucking all these fucking different components that they have that you can go gather, but what is equal exchange for a soul? Like your non-tangible portion of your body, who you are.
And Edward has the book too in that Cornello arc, and he's like, he
reads it off
2 milligrams phosphorus, 5 milligrams saltpeter, I
gotta add this. It may not connect if you don't know the other show, but I used to watch Breaking Bad back in the day. All right.
Oh yeah.
There's that scene. There's a scene where Walt is in the past, and they're talking about like what is a human, and they list all of that. Full Metal Alchemist all day.
Dude, you guys think that they like took that scene from Full Metal?
It has to be from Full Metal Alchemist. Like he's making, you know what I'm saying? The whole
we've all seen Breaking Bad. I know Noxie has too.
For sure.
That shit hit hard, and I'm guaranteed we all thought of the same thing.
100,000%.
Yeah, it was like, hey, y'all might owe money over here in Japan.
Yeah, for sure.
That's a great story. I love 20. Hey, the ending's not the strongest. That's the only thing I'll say.
And I'll say the Brotherhood ending though is one of the best. Action-wise, one of the best.
Action-wise,
one of the best endings for a show that I've seen. So
Brotherhood in general, action-wise, is one of the best anime ever made. Like, there's so much good shit in Brotherhood, as far as that, and that's why, like, I never want to get into like a firm argument. I'll say that I like the earlier one better, only because it's like it's a little bit of nostalgia goggles on. Where you're like, man. this hit me so different at this time of my life.
It moved a little slower back then. Like it wasn't.
But we enjoyed it because there was so much time spent on characters and the emotions and their motivations and their interactions and shit. Yeah.
If they would have waited longer before actually making Full Metal Alchemist, they just made one anime, they could have done that. But like that was the thing about Brotherhood, is that they pretty much expected you to have watched the original or have read the manga, so they can fucking gloss over like that
and focus on action and but see, at the same time, it's like they wanted to bring alka history in. You know what I mean? And it's like, how much, how long is this? Yeah, you know, like how much time?
Yeah, a bunch of later end stories.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
But like a couple of moments, obviously Nina. Like Nina is not as good in Brotherhood as it is in
I don't think
2003.
So. I don't think so either. Yeah.
No, it definitely hits harder in 2003. Fucking Boss Gron getting his fucking blade blown out the back of his head by fucking Scar way harder in 2003. You know, and like. Man, and Marco too. Marco's like, "You're from Ishbala." He's like, "This is what I deserve," and just like puts his head down, like, "You just blow my head up. I deserved it." And it was like, "Oh my god!" I was like, Marco's just like, "No, there's no point in me running from you. I don't deserve forgiveness from you. Just kill me because this is what is like divine. You know, like this is what should happen." Like, and that kind of shit hits so hard. And since we were talking about Rose too, I don't think this was ever talked about, and I don't know if this is even canon in the manga, but I feel like it should be if it isn't. But Rose is a mute in 2003 because the fucking soldiers raped her and gave her a fucking rape baby, and they raped her into muteness, I guess, where she wouldn't talk and like whatever, you know. And that's crazy that they traumatized her so bad that they gang raped, because that's Al even says is like they apprehended her, they picked her up, they grouped and brought her to a fucking camp, and whatever they did to her, she came back and never talked again. And it was like they clearly gang raped her, like clearly. And obviously she came back with a rape baby. Like where's that baby from? You know, like,
right, straight up.
There's so many things that hit so hard in the 2003 version that just they didn't hit the same in Brotherhood, but that was kind of the point of the Brotherhood is that we've already touched on these things and we're going to get you to the end game. You know, which
they should just bring in whoever was writing all of the non-canon shit in 2003 Full Metal. They should just have him do all non-canon shit if they're going to do non-canon shit. Like Akame got killed when it caught up to the manga in the show and just started doing whatever it wanted. Like they should have brought Buddy. They should have brought Buddy in on that, because obviously that guy is fucking brilliant.
Budo flying around.
Budo fly. Come on, bro. I don't even want to really get into.
I know.
But yeah, let's Full Metal Alchemist for sure. Definitely is a classic, and it's right there on the cusp of like what I like even consider a nostalgic like cult classic anime in my personal experience of when I first started getting into the medium. So I figured that would be a pretty strong start. Yeah. All right, who's next? Who wants to kick off one of their first picks for
like Klasik gotta go. I'm gonna take the last joint.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, go ahead, bro, because I feel like in the last episode, like we like kind of like had like an issue with like kind of like always cutting in whenever you had something to say. I feel like you didn't say enough, so
It's your episode. Yeah,
go crazy, bro.
All right, so check this out. I gotta touch base because we gotta go back in a time capsule real quick.
Okay.
Right? This is back when it was on TV.
Yeah.
You couldn't just, I'm gonna watch that shit. I'm gonna find that shit. I'm gonna find an internet site. Like, internet was slow as hell. I used to use the phone line when I went online.
Oh man.
Like if somebody wanted to call, like, that was my ass. So anyway. So I'm gonna say Lupin the Third.
Yes, bro.
Okay. So Lupin the Third is always been a favorite of mine. Like it just, I just remember even like way back in the day, even like around the holidays, I remember staying up late about Christmas. Tomorrow, like I was like, listen.
You couldn't
sleep, to play like you sleep.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I remember like watching Lupin the Third.
Yeah.
And like just being up and into it, like this shit is different because
and it looks so old, you know what I mean? But still, it hits so hard, you know what I mean?
It's wild.
Yeah,
and it was grown man things. Like it was a taste of like James Bond kind of vibe.
Yeah,
like,
bro, it was, bro, exactly.
I like the fact that every episode didn't connect with the last one. Like there was, you know what I'm saying? Like you could just kind of just
jump. You could just jump in any episode. Yeah. There wasn't like a there wasn't really like an ongoing like story like that narrative. I remember. Yeah.
So like this is a top one for me because like the characters in it were cold. Like I remember dude, what's his name?
Goemon.
I'm
Goemon.
getting to go. I'm talking about Jigen.
Oh yeah.
He was
that's a shooter.
McGraw, like you know what I'm saying? They had the characters, there wasn't a lot of characters in them, but the ones that were there were just the shit in their own way. And they had charm and you could put them in different situations and just you know what I mean?
Yeah, even though you got so many different personalities, everyone brought a certain like charisma to the series that like made you love whenever they were on screen. Like what was old girl's name?
Fuji Cakes.
Fujiko. And she was just she's the martial artist.
Yeah, she was like a femme fatale, like Nikita type chick.
Yeah.
But from Europe. I don't know.
Right. You know yeah. Fujiko was incredible.
Hey, man. Jigen will dump on you so fast. It's crazy. Off of nothing.
With the Derringer or the Dillinger, the John Dillinger type shit. The
38 special.
The 38 special.
With the hat, you didn't even see his eyes.
Right? Yeah, he had the hat tilted like Jay-Z and T.I. and shit.
Like 2002.
Yeah, the duffel bag full of guns like T.I. too. But he ain't get off and get the fucking reality TV show. A duffel bag of guns. If he got caught, he was going away.
Yeah, out of here.
On the Lupin note, Goemon. I can't even say his
Goemon
name right now.
Goemon, bro.
Yeah, that's got to be your favorite though. Yeah.
Bato Jutsu joint.
Yeah.
I haven't really said this on the show yet, but I'm a swordsman fanatic. If I was playing Soul Calibur, Mitsurugi.
Dude, Mitsurugi, Yoshimitsu every time.
I love the in the sheath, just that.
Yeah.
I forgot the style. Like I should.
Iaido.
Or
like Bato Jutsu.
Just that swag, like samurai swag all day. Katana's just the discipline. He comes through the scene. But the fact that he was a thief too was tight. Yeah. Like his clan, or he was like the 13th of his
They're
clan.
all thieves, aren't they? Like that's their group, that's their team. It's like it's like Ocean's 11 and James Bond in anime form.
Exactly. With the
couldn't have been better. That's a perfect
analogy.
Yes, yeah.
Nuances of anime, like the relief, the comedy. You know what I'm saying? The way they animate their faces, expressions and stuff. Like it's just a golden show. And the fact that like you don't have to watch it or like kind of work at trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
Like, I know that like I did a little research back in the day trying to like, because I was like, I want to know what's up with this.
Yeah.
I used to say that in my head, like, you know what I mean? It's separated by his coats. Like you can know like the older ones, he's wearing like a blue coat or
like an olive green. It's like an olive green.
So the red coat.
The red coat was with the khakis. Oh, and the navy blue like button up with the yellow with the
tomorrow.
Right.
Oh man, there's no cleaner
to go to somebody's church and wild out with that shit.
Right. He said,
oh yeah. I'm gonna do a nostalgic drip poll on Twitter. Yeah, I'm gonna do nostalgic drip.
Yeah, that's
hell yeah. OG drip. Yeah, that'll be great. Dude, Lupin's such a good pick. Did you have anything else you wanted to say about it?
Just one more thing.
Yeah.
The Gaimon movie where he fought Homeboy with the lumberjack dude, man.
Yeah, bro, it's crazy how cold-blooded the anime was for those movies, the animation was for those movies, even though like it still looked old. Like it still had that old animation style, but the shit was so clean. And like you're like, man, these fights go hard in the Lupin movies.
Yeah. And we're actually getting a new Lupin movie. It's completely CGI. We're getting it might actually already be out in Japan. I remember.
Might be, yeah.
But yeah, super excited for that too, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just had to throw that one in there.
Yeah, dude, that's an incredible pick.
Classic anime, boom.
Yeah, boom, it came together. Hold on.
Classics from Klasik. You heard it here first.
Yeah. All right, Kiko, you're next. What you got?
I am. Where do I even want to start?
Yeah.
You know, since we're gonna since this is a classic anime episode, I do want to ask the question, like, what do you guys consider a classic? Like, how does classic work in your mind? Where, like, I feel like classic, a lot of people like refer to classic as like a chronological type thing. Like, okay, it's got to be 20 years old before it's a classic. Right?
Yeah,
like a car, like its value increases with time.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, there's definitely something to that. Like, that's definitely true.
Yeah.
But like, man, back in the day, like early 2000s or late 90s or something, like when like your rap CD would come out, you knew that bitch was a classic as soon as you opened that bitch. It's like I read the motherfucking credits on this bitch, and this shit was a classic before I even put it in the fucking before I even put it in.
Like when you first played 50 Cent Get Rich or Die Trying.
Oh man,
Rich or Die Trying goes so hard, man.
Wow.
And I don't even like 50 Cent really as a rule. Many men wish death before me.
Blood in my dog and I can't see.
And I'm trying to be what I'm destined to be. Bro, that shit. Many Men might be one, especially because it's actually talking about the realest shit in Queens.
That's from his actual like that's the story. That's the song from like his
it's
actual,
9 times he got shot. That's Kenneth Supreme McGriff.
That is the 50 Cent song.
That is the 50 Cent.
Say what you want about In the Club or like whatever, but like like if you go back through that tape,
But and 50 Cent was like just blowing up out of the speakers, so I was like, you know, I don't really want that, but it was like, damn, it should still go hard.
Yeah, shit is kind of crazy. But that's an incredible question that you ask, and it's something that kind of like makes you like think back, like, why didn't we have this conversation on the first time that we did this? But I mean, it's fine though, because that episode was 2 hours long, and we're trying to we didn't really have time for it. But I mean, I guess like in regard to like what I consider a classic, I mean, like it's easy. I feel like it's easy to say that something has to be old, or have like a nostalgic, film over it for it to be, considered a classic. But I mean, like, classic, personally, has a lot more to do, with time. I feel like, because there's instant classics too. You know what I mean? There's something that, there are current shows that are going on right now, that you can just take a look at and go, that's going to be a cult classic hit, like X amount of time from now. So like you can kind of like see into the future with some of these shows too. But I mean, I guess my official answer, for what is considered a classic, I mean, at least in regards to the topic at hand tonight, is something that is definitely nostalgic, and something that established itself as one of the greatest stories of all time, that you definitely need to, if you're just getting into the medium, go back and watch, or start your fandom
you could be new to the anime game and still need to go back and fuck with it.
Yes. So that's I'd probably say that's my answer there.
That answer is very similar to mine. I think a classic, though it doesn't always have to be chronological, it's something you can just keep going back to. That's what classic really means. It's that thing that run that back. Let's run that back. You finished it, hey, I'm gonna watch that shit again. Like something I watched twice, it's a classic.
Exactly.
Like, or even if they do a remake, I'm willing to go through it again. Classic.
100%.
Oh, no doubt.
That hit hard and you still checking for it. Classic. Classic.
So that's great that you say that, because think about, like, okay, we got Yu Yu Hakusho has a new fucking movie, right? And like, who would give a fuck unless it was a classic, right?
Right.
One of the greatest of all time. But that movie is, I mean, everybody's gonna go and fucking watch that movie, because you're like, hey, Yu Yu Hakusho got a new movie? Oh, word? On it. I'm on it.
If it gets rebooted, it's probably a classic.
Basically. And sometimes they drop the ball and it just fizzles. Or and you're like, yep, the classic continues.
Sometimes you want to pull up, but that's fine. About to go over here and see Toei. I'm tired of these.
Man.
Piro and Toei need somebody to roll up on them.
Man, it's like they were those kids that like never got their ass whooped when they were growing up.
Here's free things all the time.
Here's participation trophies. All right, before we deviate a little bit too far away from the topic here, I got vodka sodas going, so forgive me. But
we all wildin'.
But yeah, go ahead. What's your first pick, Kiko?
My first pick, I'm gonna go with Street Fighter.
Whoa,
bro, Street Fighter. Hey,
I really had that one written. I wasn't expecting it.
There's a few ways you could go with Street Fighter, right? Because the movie, I want to say, came out in like 94, 95 or whatever. And that first Street Fighter movie hit so hard. The animated movie where like, so right at the beginning is Ryu fighting Sagat and they
Vega, wasn't it Vega? No.
It was Sagat.
Yeah, Sagat, yeah. And so they're fighting or whatever, and Ryu hits him with the Shoryuken, and that's what cuts him open and gives him that scar across his chest.
Yeah.
And then when he's powering up the Hadouken, fucking whoever the fuck's in the background is hitting him with like a scouter, and it's like seeing his power level, but it's like way more in depth than power level. It's like, you know, all these fucking crazy fucking fighting stats.
Yeah, a couple different stats, yeah.
And they all got a fucking numerical value, and then they come up and they like summarize at the end like total fighter power, you know, 3850 or whatever the fuck, you know, like. And I was like, damn, they're really like, because
like they had a scouter on them.
Yeah,
like,
they're serious about this.
Especially since we watched Dragon Ball Z and shit before that, even though, you know, like we probably didn't get that till a little later. I think it came out like 94, 95 in Japan, but we probably didn't get it till late 90s. But and dead ass, I remember I had the cheater box being in the hood, right? And you fucking where your fucking the picture would flip in and out. I was watching HBO. I was watching that shit on HBO, and like when he do the Hadouken and the lightning would come, it shit would start getting. So you can get a seizure off anime already, right? If you're epileptic. And when the shit starts changing blue and green because you got fucking stolen cable and the Hadouken's going, I'm surprised I ain't died watching that shit.
He's over here looking. Some foam drips out of his mouth.
But I gotta finish this fight though. Oh,
hey. This anime gonna kill me, or I'm watching this bitch. I don't give a fuck.
Oh man,
there's so much cold-blooded shit that happens in that shit. It's pretty brutal. Like when Ryu is fighting Fei Long in like an underground, like fucking. It felt like M.A.N.G.A, where they fought in like that underground like betting fucking shit, crowded around him where they're betting, and fucking Ryu's fighting fucking Fei Long and does this little thing where he like flips over his arm and like breaks his fucking elbow, like
hyperextends his shit.
And Fei Long's arm is broken for the rest of the fight, like that, and he's not using. He's trying to fight one-handed and with his legs and shit. And you're like,
he's done.
Especially at this, especially at this time though, like when we're watching anime, we're just like, this is not shit I'll ever see on an American cartoon.
Never.
Ever. Buddy's got his arm broken, and that's how it is.
Yeah.
He's one hand trying to chop, you know, like
not just because you mentioned Fei Long, it had that Bruce Lee movie energy. Like
the Street Fighter, bro.
The way they just cut in the scenes, like they brought in that like kung fu karate move. You know what I'm saying? M.A.N.G.A, that's perfect. It had that energy to it, but it was perfectly animated like it was Dragon Ball Z, and that's what made me think the Street Fighter movies were the like top of mind. Like
so hard.
Yeah, well, it was particular one you watch. I wish I knew which one it was, but I know that one.
The first, it's the same one. I guarantee you. The biggest one, the original main one, is like 2000. Or I'm sorry, like 94, 95 is when it came out, and like we probably didn't get it till like 98 or 99 or whatever.
Right.
It was late. I saw it late.
Yeah. And man, there's so much crazy shit that happens in that. Like Vega goes and breaks into Chun-Li's fucking apartment, and Chun-Li's only like 15 or 16 years old in the story. Yeah, and he's like, I like to cut my prey and like skin him slowly or whatnot. Like he's ruthless as fuck with his claw, you know, like cutting her face and like cutting her body. And she like just got out of the shower, and it was, you know, some other shit for that time, you know. But when fucking Chun-Li like jumps off the ceiling, jumps off the wall, comes back, kicks the shit out of him, and then fucking does that little does her move off the fucking, you know, game and kicks his ass through the wall, and he like falls to his death. I was like, damn, whoa,
wrong house, motherfucker.
Wrong house.
Dude,
15-year-old girl about to kick the shit out of you.
You explaining that just like totally reminded me of the scene where Tifa fights old dude in Advent Children.
Wow. I didn't even think of that.
Yeah, he like picks her up and like he like whips her across the fucking room and shit, and like she's flying through the pews in the church, and the pews are like flying everywhere. But then like you're like, oh no, and then like the dust clears and she's on the fucking wall, like caught herself, and then dips back and pop pop pat. I'm hitting a little bit of the eagle sound effects because he's not here, but he lives vicariously through us in this episode. But yeah, bro, like. Dude, Chun-Li, man. And it's like, I vaguely remember, you know, the Street Fighter movie you know, but recently I've been like maybe like 5 or 6 months ago I started reading the manga for it, and you know, like there's a lot of like it's hard to tell like what's like canon and like what's not. I mean, like I guess I could like really look it up if I really wanted to know like everything that happened, but it's like how canon are the movies, you know, too, you know what I mean? Because there's so much amazing content throughout that's all inspired from a video game. I believe is the first story that you get for Street Fighter.
I think there is a manga actually before the video.
Well, there's
game.
The manga that I found was Street Fighter 2 already and Street Fighter 3. I don't know if there is an original Street Fighter manga. What'd you say?
The first one wasn't a concept when they made Street Fighter.
Yeah.
Street Fighter 2 is when it started becoming like more story. I may be wrong, but I remember that they didn't have. It wasn't like there was a manga first, but you could be wrong. You might.
Street Fighter 1, Street Fighter the game 1 was arcade only.
Yeah.
Is Street Fighter 1. Street Fighter 2. There was no Street Fighter 1 for console. Street Fighter 2 came out on Sega and fucking SNES in like 91 or 90 or whatever. Yeah. And I felt like, I could be wrong as well, but I felt like there was a manga that was going on at least roughly the same time as that. And so there's a movie that like jumped all the shit off, but there's multiple like Street Fighter animes, but like that first anime is like Street Fighter 2 V. I want to say it's called.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the V even means because it's not. It's not 5. It's not like a Roman numeral. You know? I don't know, but and it is a little different where like I feel like in the anime, I want to say Guile beats the shit out of fucking Ryu and Ken to start off with, and that kind of like spurs them on to like
wanting to become the best.
Yeah, get better or whatever. Where like in the movie, I think like Guile is like, I don't even know if he has like one fight in the bar, I think, and I don't remember who it was, like maybe against Tomahawk or something. I don't remember. But but he's so much more like the strategist, and he's like, you know, getting shit in order for whatever to happen. And Ken and Ryu, well, actually, I think Ken first fights Bison by himself, and Bison hits him with all that telekinetic shit, pushing him into the wall and whatnot. Yeah. And then like takes
energy or something.
Psycho energy, all that shit. And then he like takes over Ken's mind and makes Ken fight Ryu. And then Ryu like breaks his fucking mind control, and then they 2v1 Bison. I'm pretty sure that's how that movie ends. But that shit, though, that it just, when I saw it, you know, like it's so crazy because it's so hard to like get into this mindset where it's like, what did I feel like back in that day?
Right.
Where, and you want to, because back then like, we just did not have anything like that. Like the closest thing we had was like the X-Men cartoon, you know, which was hard body, but it
was so censored, you know what I mean? And
it was if like, Wolverine clawed you didn't get clawed for real and blood splattered.
And they didn't even let him fight actual people. It's like, oh, hey, this one's a Sentinel, and it's like Wolverine's like, I'm here, and then you know someone will be talking shit, and Wolverine will be like, what'd you say? And it's almost like, hold on, wait a minute, Wolverine, that's a human. And then when the robots would show up, he would go crazy, you know.
One half is
but yes, that's what I got. Street Fighter, man, shit went hard, man. Game, movie, anime, don't matter, went hard. Except for the live adaptation American.
Yeah, I wanted to bring that up. Like, okay, one thing, it is trash, but one thing that I gotta say is that Guile, it was perfectly casted as Jean-Claude Van Damme, and whoever the hell.
How was Jean-Claude Van Damme's friend?
I don't know, but bro, he looked just like bro, and it was. I personally thought it.
Jackson, and then you're supposed to be the American soldier. It didn't add up. Pull off the fight scenes.
I really liked Jean-Claude Van Damme as Guile.
Back then, you got to bring it back to. Like,
well, he was like one of the biggest like white martial artists in the movies at that time. Like,
they're not going to use Steven Seagal. And whoever played M. Bison was perfectly casted too.
Raul Julia.
Yeah, that is. Yeah.
Raul Julia was like Gomez Adams in the Addams Family.
That's right. That's right.
And he died like right after that movie. He like died right after. I remember.
Really?
Yeah. And it wasn't no like funny shit or anything. I think he had like a heart attack or something. Well, actually, that could be funny.
I remember I just wanted to see what Blanca looked like real bad, and they stretched it out.
Yeah.
Got to see him, and I was just like, man.
A little under.
Zangief was so dumb in that movie.
Gosling got his stretchy powers. Like, I just remember as a kid, like, I thought that was like the shit.
Yeah.
But as you get older, it's like, yo, this is trash. Especially because I saw the live movie, I think even before I saw the animated one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Me too, probably. Yeah.
Definitely me. Yeah, definitely me too. But Zangief was perfectly casted too.
Yeah, he was really well casted, but he's just an idiot the whole time. And I was just like, man, get him off my screen.
I mean, how many?
Cross-eyed the whole time.
There's so many swole Russian people that could play Zangief. You know what I mean? He's not like a very dialogue heavy. You know, like it's easy. There's a lot of people that look the Zangief part. You know, but
he's hired muscle.
Yeah,
who get paid? That's his story.
Yeah. For sure. So everyone kind of got their like first little personal pick out of the way there. So before we go into like our second round of of personal picks on our list that we kind of want to go in depth on, like a common theme throughout these tie-in episodes, we have like kind of like lightning round picks that will fire off, or like ones that'll come to mind like mid conversation that makes sense or that are relevant to the topic. So as far as lightning round picks go, do you guys have any that you guys want to just kind of fire off and lightly touch on?
Go ahead, Klasik.
Yeah, I got one. And this is just because of the timing again. I like, and it's not something that I would gravitate towards.
Yeah.
Big O.
Big O.
I say Big O because, I mean, not usually.
Big O goes hard.
Big O goes super hard.
I'm glad you had that response.
Showtime.
Yes, I'm glad you had that response, but I'm not always a mech kind of.
Oh, yeah, you said that in the last. Yeah.
I do like them though, like certain ones. Like there's a couple of them, like Garen Logan, and like that ones that just like I like.
Yeah.
Because the style.
Yeah.
But Big O was the shit to me.
Yeah.
Because it was one of the few of them that I got to watch that was good.
Right.
It felt like OG Batman animated series.
Yes.
It was literally mech. It was literally anime mech Batman. Dude, I remember.
Look, it was a mixture of Power Rangers, kinda.
Yeah.
With the giant monster battles at the end.
You
gotta get into the Zoid or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
Right. Then you got Dorothy, the android.
Yeah.
Who and I'm a nerd, bro. I like Star Trek. I like Data, like the android trying to be human, like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You feel me?
Yeah.
So it just had so many dashes of shit that I just liked, and Big O, I just had to say it.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, Big O's definitely one that definitely should be touched on. I feel like Saint Seiya is another one, like that I'm not like too wildly familiar with, but like that I like vaguely remember like seeing on like some kind of, I don't even remember what where did it, like where I don't even know where that was, but
Saint Seiya, the thing I hear about Saint Seiya, like I didn't watch it either, but the thing that you hear about it is that they're like fucking, I don't know, omniversal beings.
Yeah, like wildly broken, busted. The
most broken shit ever at the end. And it's like, I feel like I might need to fuck with this. Because I want to know. I just want to know why people say that fucking anybody in Saint Seiya can wash just about. It's like Saint Seiya characters, whoever the hell their top character is, versus Sinbad and fucking Magi. It's like that's like the fucking like main omniversal fucking battle you hear about. You're like, oh man, fifth dimensional beings fighting each other. Like, what the fuck does that mean?
Right.
I'm a three-dimensional dumbass being here. I can't figure out what fucking 5 dimensions means.
Yeah, this is a little bit too much. Yeah. But going back to Big O, dude, it's so funny. I forgot to say this. Fucking when I saw the trailer for Big O for the first time, like I legitimately thought I was looking at a Batman cartoon, right?
Bro,
and it
is Bruce Wayne.
And he had the suit, and he was in like a fucking Bentley or some shit, in the middle of like
Lincoln, it was a big body.
Yeah.
Pimp C riding Lincoln.
Yeah, and he was in the middle of like a Chicago looking city, you know what I mean? Right. And I was like, okay, and I was like, oh shit, this new Batman shit's going kind of hard. And then he gets on in the commercial, he gets on the speaker or whatever with a butler. You know what I mean? And he's like Norman, and he says Norman. I was like, okay, Alfred's name is Norman in this Batman show. Like that doesn't sound right, but I'm here for it. And then
Alfred and Norman are basically the same name, right? What's the difference between Alfred and Norman? To me, I'm like,
they're the same guy, just
old butler
name.
Yeah, and then he gets in a robot, and I was like, yo, Batman. What are you doing?
When did Batman get a mech? I mean, he could afford one.
Yeah.
So it's like, yes. I don't remember. Bought a mech, I guess. He went over to Japan and fucking with them Gundam joints over there.
Fuck ninjutsu. Yeah. I'm trying to blow some shit up.
Yeah, straight up. And Big O was so tight because he had the piston in his elbows. So whenever he would jaw you, he would say something. I can't remember. It wasn't like Showtime. He said something else other than Showtime. He shouted something else like.
Yeah.
I can't remember what it was.
I keep saying Jackpot, but that was like Devil May Cry Dante.
Yeah, but he would say something else. He would say something else like I don't even know what it was. And then when he said that, the piston would go and just blow their shit out the back of their shit. Yeah. Yeah, bro,
that
man.
shit went hard.
Big O.
No, the one thing, I don't know if y'all saw this. So it definitely felt like Batman, but it felt like Batman Beyond. Like he felt like Terry McGinnis.
Yeah, he had the Terry McGinnis haircut.
It was in a post-apocalyptic time. Didn't they have like a dome? It was like humanity was after the nuclear holocaust, and like
they're like terraforming places on the
but
planet.
People didn't know what to do really. Yeah. Like it was like you were kind of stuck in this little bubble. Yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah,
I just remember that.
Yeah, for sure. Big O is definitely one that I wanted to touch on. So I'm glad that you brought that one up too. And then we did Saint Seiya. Another one. I don't know if you guys are familiar with this, but have you ever seen the anime Blue Gender?
Yeah. I won't say that I've seen the whole thing completely, but I've definitely like checked it out. Definitely.
Yeah. So Blue Gender was like something that I didn't go through all the way. Like I would just see like spot episodes like here and there on like Sci-Fi Channel, right?
Memory, man.
Yeah, but like to refresh your memory, so Blue Gender was like another kind of like mobile suit like kind of story, but it wasn't like a Gundam or anything like that. You know what I mean? It felt a lot like now that I have the information that I have now. It gave me like Attack on Titan vibes, right? Because the premise that I remember,
like fear.
There was a fear. Yeah, it was scary. Yeah, it was a horror. It was like a survival horror thing. But the premise that I remember is that Earth like had like a nuclear war or something like that. Or it just was like uninhabitable for some reason, and everybody bounced. You know what I mean? And then when everybody bounced, they were like they're living in like a space station or some shit, and they're like, we want our planet back. You know, so they send motherfuckers to go like get the planet back. And there's these gigantic bugs, you know, there that like I think bugs are the reason why they bounced. Like the bugs showed up because like the climate like changed or something, or there was like something in the water, some radioactive shit. I don't remember. But these fucking bugs like would pull up, and they're just like obviously like 900 times the size of like humans. I do
remember seeing this. Yeah. Like violent.
Yeah,
people's guts getting eaten.
Yeah, because the bugs would turn people into meatballs, into like meat cubes. Yeah. You know, and they would have to eat like it was just a mass extinction because these bugs ate humans for some reason, or maybe they were carnivores and they already ate up all the animals or something like that. I don't know what it was.
Big as hell, like bugs. The bug world is grimy as hell. You think about the insect kingdom.
Yeah.
Like not.
I'll pass on that. Hard pass.
I ain't fucking with anything with more than
I saw Hunter. I'm good.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
But Blue Gender was one, you know, that I wanted to lightly touch on. There's a lot. I mean, if you guys wanted to fire off any,
I'm going to look that up again because I remember that.
Blue Gender was hard, and honestly, I want to go back. I want to go back through and like watch it again because, like, from start to finish. Because one, I've never done it. Two, it was super interesting to me as a kid, and just the fact that like when I was younger, like I hadn't seen that kind of thing in animated form yet. I hadn't seen that kind of story where it was like a survival horror.
It was like Dead Space or something.
Yeah, Dead Space, bro, dude. It definitely
like
felt
right? I remember
that. Yeah, man, for sure. What other light ones do you guys want to lightly touch on here before we move into our second round?
This is a perfect time for me to bring this one up. It's a good segue into this. So, Voltron is old as fuck, right?
Yeah.
Like it was in America. Like I watched this shit when I was literally fucking 5 years old or some shit in like 89. I mean, I wasn't 5 in 89, but whatever. That's like when it was on in America. But like that's like literally when we got it. Even though like it came. So the thing I wanted to talk about Voltron more than anything is that it's actually two different Japanese anime mixed into one show and one American show. Voltron is the American fucking adaptation or whatever you want to fucking call it of Go Lion and Armored Fleet Dairugger XV. It's two fucking animes. Made by the same people. I think it's Toei, actually.
It's exactly how Power Rangers came in our
Same
life.
thing with Power Rangers. Exactly
you're
the same
onto
thing.
it.
Bro, what?
Yeah.
I've never heard of either of what you just said.
Yes.
Two fucking different anime combined to make Voltron, and that shit was aired in America in the 80s. Or maybe late. No. It's definitely late 80s, early.
Toys, bro. It was money of getting.
I do remember that. I do remember that being a thing.
With that shit.
With like Transformers and shit was the same thing too. Like.
Yeah. Well, I feel like Transformers is like the same thing as Thundercats, where it's like this is an American written story with Japanese animation team making the fucking actual.
I was saying as in like it was all about the toys. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, probably the same thing.
But yeah, like that's where.
That's why I just wanted to bring it up, because it's like I used to watch fucking Voltron when I was literally 5 years old.
Yeah.
And it's wild that was an anime that we had back in the 80s that is actually 2 different anime mixed to one. Like
I never heard those names that you just said. Go Lion.
Yeah.
Something Die Digger
Die Rugger XV or whatever. Yeah, Die Rugger XV. Yeah.
What is that?
I don't know. Die Rugger.
Die Rugger. Oh man, what a name though.
I know. That's questionable.
Yeah.
To say the least. Over here in America, that's a questionable word. Die Rugger. But that's
I'm getting hot laughing at this shit. Open up my door. Holy moly.
I mean, that's how we go on this one. The tie-ins, we go a little hard,
Yeah.
Kampai,
Kampai. I'm like almost out of here. I need to.
Hey, I started this bitch out of here. I'm surprised I'm still fucking coherent and saying regular words that people understand.
Wow. Okay. Any other lightning round picks before we go into our...
I think we should hit up our next joints, yeah.
All right, who wants to start off? Klasik?
Maybe yeah.
Oh yeah, actually, I think Klasik went before you last round. So
I was gonna say, do we want to like reverse the order?
Well, why don't you go ahead and hit it and give us a personal pick?
All right. How about, and I have a little bit of inspiration from this. Was like, I don't know, we were at Dice Show.
Yeah.
Our man's Nick Lizzo out in this bitch.
What is
bringing up? Talking about S-Cryed, bro.
Like, it really fucked me up, bro. Yes.
S-Cryed fucked me up.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, damn, that shit was tight.
Yeah.
And I forgot it was completely. I would have never maybe ever thought of that anime ever again until fucking Nick brought it up, and I was like, that shit went super hard. There was a lot of good themes of fucking, impoverished or fucking undesirable people that live in this fucking dead ass.
You never seen Sakurai? You never seen Sakurai? All right, bro.
Yeah.
I ain't even gonna
Bro, let us. Well, me and Kiko are gonna put you on them because this is actually one of my personal picks too. So we can just morph, both of our second round, personal picks into one segment together, right? Yeah. So Sakurai is the ultimate story about rivalry. You will never get a better rivalry story, in my opinion, than Sakurai. Fuck Naruto and Sasuke. I mean, not fuck Naruto and Sasuke, but I mean that's a pretty good rivalry story too, I guess. But in regards to what, and it's great that this is a nostalgic pick, right? Because this is before I'm really going into the ongoing real deal ongoing series that I eventually ended up exclusively watching and reading for. Once I really got into the fandom, back when I was still watching spot episodes of things here and there before I had internet and could just find whatever I wanted, Sakurai Ed was one that I kept coming back to every single time because that story was so amazingly written. The relationship between Kazuma and Ryuho was it was almost borderline ridiculous how much they hated each other. You know what I mean?
No, it's crazy how they hate each other, they respect each other, they hate each other again, they respect each other again, and then they got a final 1v1 end boss fight at the end. And it's wow.
Are they delinquents?
No, I mean
Kazuma.
Yeah, Kazuma is Kazuma. This is
the school setting.
This is the definition. This is the definition of hot-blooded anime stories, right? You know what I mean? So Kazuma definitely feels a lot like a Yusuke. He definitely feels and like a Kuwabara too at the same time. You know what I mean? So I liken him to characters.
Hothead.
I liken him to delinquent characters, but the world that they're living in is so much different than ours that there isn't really delinquency isn't even really something there's no I mean,
no, think about it. They have a government and they have cities, but the city is walled off from all this fucking just post-apocalyptic type shit where the people are living in people are just
castle they have they're in a enclosed from what's really popping out.
Yeah, it definitely feels it's definitely a dystopian setting, right?
Yes, but, dystopian. That's what I was looking
for.
But
one of the tightest aspects about the show is the energy system in it. The power system alters, yeah, right? So it's basically people have found a way to link their minds with matter, right, and energy, right? So any matter that like comes in contact with you, you can absorb it and then like re-manifest it in the form of your fighting power, basically. And
whatever
that
it is,
and that can either
it's a wide range.
It's a wide range. So you see all of these really cool powers, but Kazuma like kind of like turns his into like a combat suit. and Ryuho
well,
like
don't go to combat suit right away.
Yeah,
kind of like
in the sense of that you can kind of form your power into, and I think it might have been subconscious how they got their powers. Like, this is what manifested for them.
Yeah,
but they might not have actually like designed and planned it.
But it is a mental thing, though.
Yeah, so Kazuma has first of it. It's called Shell Bullet. It's just that one
Shell
fucking
Bullet.
metal.
It's just one arm. Yeah. That's right.
And he just came through like, and he'd like spin around 360 and like punch the shit out of somebody with like the fucking That shit was cold blooded. And then
Ryuho had like a stand.
A stand, exactly a fucking stand. That's exactly what it is.
Ryuho had like a stand, you know what I mean?
A humanoid fucking thing that he like, you know, like, and it would fight for him.
Yeah, he had what do you call that in MMORPGs? A pet? He had a pet.
Any kind of pet. Yeah,
he had a pet stand basically.
A familiar.
Yeah. But I mean, like, dude, it's such a good.
He controlled like creatures that helped him.
Yeah, but I mean, like, it's more science. You know, it's more science based. You know, like
it was a metal fucking man. It was this metal fucking humanoid thing that would fight on his behalf, and it evolved into. So, the thing about alters is like, I don't know, like, so at least Ryuho and Kazuma had 3 different levels to their, and they started off at level 1, and that's the beginning of the story, and evolved throughout the story where, so. Ryuho is the one who had the fucking humanoid stand, and then like when it evolved into a second humanoid stand, and it was like more. It had like a snake bottom where it was like a fucking you know, and but this upper was like a full ass mech type shit that would just beat the brakes off you, and had this like fucking laser fucking thing that it would shoot.
Yeah, dude, it's so good, and the animation is so ahead of its time. And it's just beautiful. It was like you're watching a movie, but it's a TV show, and it's so good. And the ending, bro, I don't want to spoil it for you because you haven't seen it, but that's one of the best final fights you're ever going to see, fam.
It makes it's when you see like final fights in anime where like they use like their first forms of shit, and you're like, why didn't we just jump to the end form right away? Like, it actually made sense that they started off, you know, where they did, and like, you know, use their second form.
It's about rivals. It sounds like they had a mutual respect, and they kept pushing.
They did at some point.
It was hard to see the mutual respect because they spent so much time on the disgusting hatred that they had for each other.
Ryuho
you know what I mean?
loses his memory, and then he gets the respect for Kazuma, where he's like, okay, I see what he's doing, because now I can look at this objectively, and I don't have like these other fucking governmental fucking thoughts placed into my mind, because that's what it was. They were, I want to call it SHIELD. Obviously, it's not SHIELD, but like they had some fucking organization that was like the police force or whatever, and Ryuho run that shit, even though he was like 16 or 17. Like,
find this back in the day?
This is on Adult Swim.
This was on Cartoon Network, bro. Yes.
Yeah.
My cable, it must have been tight back then. Shit, I was
bro, that was the once I got into once I got into anime, that was the one thing that like I had to make sure my parents kept going for me. I was like, look, you guys, like, I'm young, you know, I don't pay none of the bills around here. Like, I understand, you know, that when times is hard, but you need to keep me my cable. Okay? We'll go across the street. We'll go across the street to the apartment, to the townhouse complexes, and take showers in the gym for, you know, but I ain't missing this fucking Sacriad, fam. Okay, great. I'm glad that we kind of like got like 2 of our, you know, of our picks, you know, like kind of like mashed into one to like help with the time, you know, the time running of the episode. But Klasik, you're up next. What's your second round personal pick you got?
Okay, this is definitely a personal pick because of the time, and this is why it's classic. This is back in the day when I used to have the cable, you know what I'm saying, before streaming networks.
Yeah.
The cable.
I could just glide. Let's just call it episode glide.
All right.
Anyway, it was Afro Samurai, bro.
Okay.
Because this shit hit on so many different levels, man. It had RZA.
Yeah.
Production.
RZA on the production. You can't go wrong there.
With the Wu-Tang, just that vibe.
Yeah, dude.
That was there. It was in the air.
Yeah, man.
And
that's Buddha Zigzag Zigala to y'all, you know. Like,
bong bong.
Bong bong.
Bong. So I gotta say Afro Samurai, just from the moment I saw the first episode.
Yeah, bro.
We had mentioned earlier that a classic is something that when you see it, you want to go back and watch it.
Yeah.
And Afro Samurai is something I used to marathon.
Yeah.
I remember when I copped the DVD
Yeah.
You know what I mean? After it was like on Spike TV or something. Like it was
on some other shit.
It was it was. I think it was on Spike. Yeah.
That does. I think you're right.
It was Spike TV, and Spike TV was cold because it was just extra violent movies and just shit that guys. It was like something that you want to watch. Like you could just.
They would always have like beer commercials with like you know girls in Daisy Dukes with their titties out. Like you know, this is a man's channel. God,
that's not like the Man Show.
Yeah, the Man Show. Oh, maybe that is what I'm. I forgot there was a Man Show. God, dude.
The girls on trampolines.
At the end of it, that is just wild that that's even a show.
Like, dude, America is so trash. But yeah, no, and also going back to Afro Samurai. It's like I feel like I saw that on like MTV too. Also, you know, like
you're thinking of this high school one. I remember seeing some crazy show.
Anyway.
Okay, I'm gonna go back to what we thought what a classic was. Something that you can go back to.
It's something that's timeless. You know what I mean?
I still have it like within arm's reach over here. I'm not even gonna get all technical. I have Resurrection. Like
Resurrection's so good, bro. Dude, that fight on the bridge with the two twins with like with the paper like masks on. Yes. Bro, or maybe they were fencers. They were fencers. Yeah, they were the two fencing twins.
He had the hat. Yeah, he had the hat at the beginning.
Yeah,
like,
bro.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Just that whole scene.
Yes.
But I gotta say it's a classic because that first episode when Afro Samurai was a kid and his pops, he had the #1 headband.
Yeah.
And when he got his wigs separated.
Yeah. From
the base.
Flying guillotine style.
Yeah.
Yes. Like you knew it was heavy. Like, This is real. This is what my favorite aspect of anime is swordplay.
Yeah.
Like I always go back to the swordplay.
Yeah.
I know you like Kenshin.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Who doesn't?
Right.
Yeah. So, it doesn't matter what it is because you know what? The life of a samurai is the hardest life that anybody ever lived.
Yes.
Man.
It's harder than. No. Yeah, bro. No, Forrest Whitaker. Is that what we're talking about right here?
I had to throw that in.
In what?
Ghost Dog is also a soundtrack also produced by RZA, and Ghost Dog soundtrack might be one of the hardest fucking soundtracks of any fucking movie ever made.
Wow.
I swear to God, bro.
I've never seen Ghost Dog.
It's like straight Forrest Whitaker's fucking eye, his eyes going this way, his eyes going that way, but he gonna cut your ass.
Yo,
it was basically like he was like a hood assassin who lived by the Bushido code.
Wow.
And he you know what I mean? He wasn't out there for riches. Like he had just, I don't know. Like I never looked at pictures the same
on this podcast because I never fucking I've not thought about Ghost Dog in fucking 15 years. I swear.
Okay, but when I saw it reminded me Afro Samurai and Ghost Dog. There was a parallel that just connected with me, and then the fact that it was Samuel L. Jackson.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You got the ninja. Is he real? Is he a figment of his imagination?
Right, yeah. Like, that was an incredible angle of it too.
Sometimes he did stuff and it affected things. But I had to mention Afro Samurai on the classic tip because it was a game changer for me.
Yeah.
And I'm glad one of y'all mentioned it because you know the representation is like such a huge thing.
And we were talking about that in the Swordsman episode, I think, too, a little bit.
Yeah, I think so.
When Afro Samurai got brought up, yeah.
And obviously it's not my place to talk about the representation, but like it's still you still feel it. Like you still feel like something else, some other, you know, like this is I can respect what's happening here.
It goes back to the 70s, bro. It's history. It goes back to the way that like the black community,
black exploitation
Asian culture. You know what I mean?
Asian culture too.
Enter the Dragon. What's his name? You come straight out of a comic.
Yeah, and man, and I don't even know why I can't remember his name. But
up with anime, something that I felt was special to me.
Yeah,
you know and like I felt like it was a gem.
Yeah,
you know?
And like I was saying in the previous episode, it's like when you're younger and you see Afro Samurai for the first time, and you're already infatuated with not just samurai in general, but like kung fu movies and just like the Japanese culture in general is just like taking you know, on this journey, and now you're seeing yourself in the story in the form of a black main character in a samurai story. That's huge for us, you know what I mean?
Yes,
like when we're coming up, you know what I mean? Because now it's like, oh, I can be a samurai too, You know what I mean?
I used to be salty because I couldn't be a Super Saiyan in my head.
Yeah,
because I couldn't imagine how it would look with my hair.
You thought you just have to be a guy at the top of a tower with a turban on.
You know, that's so weird too to think about that, because like as a white person, it's like I never like thought I was the same as Goku in any kind of way.
Right? Yeah, because you're so used to seeing yourself in everything. You know what
like
I mean?
everything's my color, my skin tone, you know, and it's like, even though like I know this isn't from America, and that's why it's hitting so hard to me, where I'm like, wow, this is what the rest of the world or another part of the world is doing that we don't get. Finally, we got it. But I'm still not saying like, hey, that's me doing that, you know, but at the same time, you might not think about it because it's like, everything's been me my whole life, right? Like everything has always been something that I could
relate
I could put myself in if I wanted to. Where once you start hearing other people talk about what representation really means, that shit's powerful. That's just real powerful.
100%.
Definitely.
And I'm happy that you brought up Afro Samurai, because I don't think I was going to. And maybe that's because I just didn't think about it, or maybe like unconsciously I was just like, I already talked about it in the Swordsman episode. But I'm glad that you're on the episode bringing up Afro
I had it on my list, but I didn't want to be the one.
I had to,
you could. I mean, you definitely could have been the one that brought it up, but like,
if nobody else was gonna do it, I was gonna do it. But I just wanted to definitely like save that to the very end to make sure if any of y'all had it, that's y'all.
And I gotta add this: the fact that it was like it. I'm assuming it was American made, like, you know what I mean? But
it was American written.
It was written.
The animation wasn't. That was Japanese.
That's Japanese or Korean animators.
It was just
and Korean.
The animation is one of like the way his sword looked. Like it was all beat up. And he, you know what I'm saying?
You don't get that in America. If a character has a sword in America, it's perfect all the time. You know, they don't go into like the quality doesn't go into, you don't get like the reflection on it, like seeing the enemy's face in the sword. Like maybe you've gotten it somewhere, but I mean, like
the temper pattern.
If we get that over here in the West, like that's few and far between, and it's still Japanese, you know, or Korean influenced or Chinese influenced to some degree. You know what I mean? Like you're not going to get like 100% American made, you know, animation that does. And that's actually probably a really good idea for a time episode. The difference between like Western and Eastern storytelling. You know what I mean? Maybe we could do that too, but
I think we can.
Yeah, but I mean, like you just don't get, you know, that kind of shit over here. But Afro Samurai is an incredible pick.
Afro.
Yeah. All right. Well, before we get to our last round, does anybody have any more lightning round picks they want to fire off? I feel like there's so many that we have to at least say the name of. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I wanted to. Yeah, this is good for lightning round. It's like Tenchi Muyo, Tenchi Universe, Tenchi in Tokyo. There was all these different variations of Tenchi where it was like, when we're watching it, especially because we're younger at the time, you're like,
you don't know what harem it means.
No. Yeah, you're like, why does Money got like 8 girls on him at all times? Like, twisting nipples and whatnot.
Back then. It didn't register. I was just like, this is like,
and I'm like a little like virgin kid. Like, why can't is this what's happening in Japan, Mom? Hey, cancel Disney World. Cancel. No. We're going to Japan, bro. Like I'm sitting here like,
they just got 6 chicks per dude.
I'm like, come on, bro. Like, I know it's a lot of people in Tokyo, but I didn't know that this is what they were doing with that. Yeah.
I'm trying to go with those ratios.
Yeah, but Tenchi Muyo is definitely a very good one, and I remember like the Tenchi Muyo isn't one that I'm like wildly familiar with, but it was on Toonami, right? It was on Toonami, so I saw good episodes of it, but it wasn't like one of the ones that I was obsessed with. So like the retention of the story, withers over time. Yeah. But I mean, I do remember, and usually I'm pretty good with names. But I can't remember the 2 main character girls that were obsessed with Tenchi. But they had cold-blooded lightsabers they had. I just remember thinking that the lightsaber design was so cool.
Ryoko and Ayaka.
It's Ryoko, who I thought was grimy.
She's the one with the bigger blue hair. She's the one with the bigger blue hair.
She had the
She's
ears.
like half demon or half.
pointy ears.
She's like half demon or something. Yeah, I don't remember exactly.
Her teeth was sharp. She had the fangs.
She's like a synthetic human, like half synthetic or something. Like that.
Yeah, for sure.
That is it.
And their energy sabers were like all energy. There wasn't a handle or anything, so it wasn't like a tried and true lightsaber. So there was an energy system there. I don't remember how fleshed out it was, but I just remember thinking the design was so tight because the energy would come out the bottom of the hand. Then you would have a little ball of energy, and then the rest of the Samurai 8.
Yeah.
Samurai 8. It's dude, holy shit, okay. But yeah.
Very reminiscent.
Yeah, but like
I gotta commend those Toonami edits on Tenchi Muyo.
Bro.
How cold they made it look when you didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
That's why I watched it, because I remember seeing those cuts and there was just certain moments. I don't know.
You would get the lo-fi hip hop. You get the
I don't know. There was just certain.
You're talking about the commercials, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you get like the lo-fi hip hop before lo-fi hip hop, like in the background.
Right,
the new Jabe's like pioneer shit.
Yeah. And you get a little bit of like Flying Lotus, I feel like back then too, like in the shit too. And yeah, dude, those commercials for Toonami were just so ahead of their time.
Those are the greatest promos of all time.
Yeah, and actually,
I'd fight somebody over that. You want to tell me that something was hotter than a Toonami promo?
Bro,
we're fighting over
I'd risk my teeth for that.
Yeah,
I know. Dead ass.
And
I got some pretty ass teeth.
And in the first tie-in episode that we did for Classic Anime, I put one of those promos at the end of the episode. I'm definitely going to do that again for this episode.
Yeah.
Because it's like
the boy has a right to dream.
Yes.
It's so hard,
Space.
bro. So hard.
Yeah, bro. That is the best one, but I'll find the next best one and put
there's so many good ones.
There's so many good ones. I'll probably put the Tenchi Muyo joint, like, cause like every series that like ran on Toonami like had like a promo spotlight commercial.
It was heavy there.
Yeah.
Series. That one was Outlaw Star heavy.
Yeah.
That one.
You know what they did? They played it at the end of one episode too. Didn't they like play it at the end to kind of amp you up for when it was coming up next?
Oh yeah. I think that is how they did that.
Watching one, and it would keep you wanting to watch the next.
And then whatever show was next.
I'm gonna stay up till 11:30.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
I remember the Yu Yu Hakusho one too, where it was Shorin floating in the air and he was about to do that fucking like whatever, that tornado attack. Where Yusuke jumps up and hits him with that, but Yusuke's like sitting here looking up and it's like fucking shining and it's like a prism, like multiple colors coming down. What the hell is this? That's what it ended on.
Yeah, what the hell is it? Oh my god, bro.
That's exactly it, bro. That was so hard.
Wow.
I love that one. I love that.
Holy shit, man. That just gave me goosebumps.
Toonami promos.
Yeah.
Hey, I definitely tell you, I'll fight you in the street. You want to There's a hotter promo than fucking Toonami? Never in your life. Never ever existed on the planet. Ever.
Yeah.
I've seen a gang of, I've been to the movies a lot. And I saw promos, I saw trailers.
Yeah.
Never fucking with that. Nothing.
Yeah, super ahead of its, super unique, super ahead of its time, dude. Toonami. You got to talk about Toonami heavily on an episode like this, I feel like, and now we're finally getting like a Toonami. We're getting
classic anime for Americans.
Yeah,
like
straight up.
Without Toonami, we're not here today.
Yeah, 1000%. Yeah, for sure. Another lightning round pick that I had was Ranma, right? Because because Ranma is another one of those where I'm not wildly familiar with the story, but like you have to shout out Rumiko Takahashi, right? Because like Inuyasha was the first anime that I went back and I've said it a couple times on this channel, but
she's on like her 7th book now.
Yeah. Mao is I think Mao is like the 7th or 8th. Yeah, her 7th or 8th shit. Yeah, but and we should probably be reading Mao, dude. It's monthly. There's only like 26 chapters out. Like
we probably should.
Yeah, like we should probably see what's going on with that because she can't miss, dude. Like at least in anything that I've seen, and like I was saying, like Inuyasha was the first one where once I became infatuated with the medium, I was like, okay, and I saw the commercials for it, like I've said before, and it's like, okay, this isn't out yet. I'm getting ready for this. I'm going to watch this from the beginning, and then I found out about Ranma was the first anime that I went into, and manga really, that I like went into and like dabbled with. Like once internet searches, and whatnot became prominent, and like I got a computer late, you know what I'm saying? So like I was like situated, in the internet world, and I started looking into anime. Ranma was one of the ones that like came up for me, and I'm like, and I'm looking at it, and I'm like, oh my god, this is it's a martial arts story. I didn't even know it was Rumiko Takahashi, because I didn't know the names of mangaka. I didn't know, I didn't know anything. I thought it, I didn't know anything. So, but I could tell that it was familiar. You know what I mean? Because it was a similar style to something that I had already seen before. But once those dots start connecting, and I'm like, oh my god, it's the creator of fucking Inuyasha. And that story, from what I remember of it, it was like a comedy, like martial arts, story. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, and
gender bender.
Yeah, and it was a gender bender. And I think that she like, I think Ranma would like switch her gender at times.
Yeah,
you know, to like keep,
Yep.
you know, when she was around certain, people, so that they thought, it was a certain way. And I remember like Moose was like her homegirl. And that was like my first waifu, I think. was Moose, like I remember being like, oh man, and then there was one more, Ryoga was like the guy. I thought it was a guy. It's hard to remember right now, but I just remember really thinking that Ranma was cool, and I should probably go back and actually do that story too at some point. But that's another lightning round pick that I wanted to throw out there.
Inuyasha, I mean, we don't got to talk about it in depth because we did talk about it on the last one, but just more than anything is that it's like the first anime that I ever had that had other things that weren't like strictly shonen that I was interested in. I was interested in like the love triangle between Kikyo, Kagome, and Inuyasha. Yeah. Like I was interested in like
the other love triangle between Kagome, Koga, and Inuyasha.
Koga and Inuyasha, exactly. Yeah. So like there was other like elements of an anime that I could fuck with. Yeah. And that was the first time that I think I ever seen anything that I was like, okay.
Yeah. And once again, shout out to Rumiko Takahashi, because she had an incredible balance of like action, elements and romance. And I never thought that I would even care about a romantic angle in my action story before I saw Inuyasha. You know what I mean?
Because you gotta admit, that's the formula for a story. Like you gotta go back to like Plato writing stories. Like you gotta have some kind of romance, or there's like it's part of the recipe,
right?
For
a masterpiece or a classic. I think Ranma was the last one. Do you have a classic? Do you have a lightning round pick that you wanted to throw out?
Okay, lightning round. Let me see what I got. I mean, it deserves a lot more, but I just gotta say, because it's classic and it's something that fucking blew my mind when I first seen it.
Let's go.
And it was a game. The way I got introduced to it was a PlayStation game, bro.
What is it?
Berserk, bro.
Oh, Berserk. Man, Berserk.
And it's one of my favorite. I ain't even really talk about it yet. Yeah. But I just gotta say, Berserk, classic anime.
Yeah.
If we gotta continue this on the future.
Yeah. No, that's the 90s joint.
That's and honestly, 90s. But I mean, like the Berserk anime, like from the 90s, only covers like like Guts' like origin, like into the Golden Age arc, right?
Right.
Yeah. But
I gotta say, and I'm gonna touch on this since it's lightning.
Yeah.
My favorite Berserk is post Golden Age. I just love the like when he
from the eclipse on.
Yes. Yeah. After the eclipse.
Well, Black Swordsman, you're actually supposed to consume before.
Right. It is the Black.
Swordsman. The Black Swordsman arc is the very first arc that you're supposed to.
But it makes you like appreciate.
Yeah.
The Black Swordsman. Like at first he was just like this piece of shit. I mean, he wasn't a piece of shit. This isn't your everyday antagonist or protagonist.
Yeah, no, definitely not. Definitely not. Oh man,
it's not about a good guy. This isn't about a good guy in a good world. There's no the sense of right and wrong and justice. It's just
this is revenge, determination, and badassery incarnate.
And he'll blow backs out. Tell me I'm lying.
Hey, you're not lying.
Yeah, there's some diddling going on, but still,
backs get blown out.
But still, for silver, like you just did it for like 2 points. But no, chill. I gotta say though that it's just because the fact that the main character is not a good guy, the world that it's in, and the reason I like it so much is there's parts of it that make me laugh. Like it's funny.
It's funny. It's
like,
crazy
that
it can
a lot of parts.
Yeah, it's crazy that there can even be like that. It's the story like that is.
So just the and then just the violence, but I do like just the fact that it's like dude is like a Dynasty Warrior character who can just mow.
Wow.
You know what I
bro
mean? Like,
there could be a Berserk Dynasty Warriors, no cap.
I think
you just coming
it might happen. They might have been that Band of the Hawk game. I almost wanted to buy it.
I never played any of the games, but
I'm reluctant on that because I ain't hear nothing.
Because anime games are trash.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Just largely. Sure. Sometimes they'll get a good one. One out of 18.
Right. I didn't spend that 50+ price tag
No.
too many times.
Not worth. Not worth.
Trick. I'm gonna use the word trick again.
That's
I'm
tricking
not
for sure.
Tricking.
Buying anime
like
games
that.
is tricking, definitely.
Definitely. Post T.I. song.
Oh man, okay, Kiko, you got another lightning round pick before we go into our final round?
I don't know. I think we should just go in the final round. Let's just hit it out.
All right, you start.
All right. Well, I don't know if y'all ever fucked with this one, but I got a lot kind of on this because I bought these fucking VHS for my sister. But Slayers with Lena Inverse. Lena Inverse is the main character.
Never heard of that. So, put me on.
Slayers. You've never heard of Slayers?
I don't think so.
You gotta.
Well, refresh my memory then.
Okay. So Slayers is about Lena Inverse is the main character. So first of all, it's shonen-esque, but a female main character.
Okay.
And so she's like 15, 16, something like that, and she is a black magic. So there's like classes.
You had me. You got me. That's my favorite. That's my favorite class.
I know. Black mage always goes hard.
All day.
Yeah,
definitely.
That's my job in 14. I still rock that.
She's the Lulu in this bitch.
Hell yeah. Yes. The Vivi.
She also has a little bit of shamanistic magic and a little bit of light magic. So there is classes in this bitch, hard classes. Okay. And so, but she's like a fucking tensei fucking genius, like young as hell, and has created her own. Yes, definitely. And she has created her own magic that falls under no category already. And so she's kind of like the Gojo almost of the story, where she's like,
wait a minute,
hard body. She's like, but she's the main character.
Yeah,
so maybe
just
closer,
young and wild though, wild, but just and powerful as fuck.
You can maybe liken it to a One Punch Man, maybe not as much, where like Saitama can never lose and he'll just punch you into oblivion. Like Lena Inverse, you felt like she could lose, but at the same time, she still was the best, and she never did.
Hey.
So and so she rolls around and gathers crew members. We got Gory or Gowry. I always say Gory because I don't know, but it's Gowry.
Okay.
But whatever. He's like the knight swordsman, and he's an idiot. He's forgetful. He's kind of like like a typical male character in a shonen story, where like he's kind of Naruto-esque, where it's like where he's like, I'm dumb, but I have very high battle instinct.
Right.
And I just like live off that. And I got cold-blooded swordsmanship, but I'm dumb. He like constantly
Luffy powers.
Like who?
Very Luffy.
Like the Goku,
like Luffy. Oh yeah.
Okay. Luffy, Goku, Naruto. We're dumb. We ain't high level in as far as like strategy.
We're not articulate, but we come with words when they need to be said.
Yeah.
And we have the best battle instinct, like real high level. And so it was always funny, like his interactions, because Lena would be like breaking the situation down for him, and she'd be like hitting him with like some high level information, and he would be like mispronouncing everybody's name. He'd forget everybody's name. He'd be like, buddy over here did this thing, maybe, I don't know, but if he does, I'm gonna cut him. And, so it was always good. And then you got Zelgadis was the shamanistic mage, where he was a actual human and then got like turned into like some kind of chimera thing. And
a little Shao Tucker action.
A little shout. Shao Tucker hit him with the you're a stone guy now or whatever. and so he had fucking spirit and earth type spells, which were very, shamanistic, like, and he could, whatever, bring up earth.
The Night Wolf.
The Night Wolf, yeah. He
this sounds super interesting, dude.
It's pretty good, but so it's surface level interesting. Like I won't say it's like super like deep or nothing.
Yeah.
But it's very good. And like I remember buying these VHSs for my sister because she like really fucked with it. Lena Inverse having like a shonen-esque story with a female lead.
Yeah.
And where she's the actual strongest. Yeah. And this is like mid-90s.
You never 90s. I feel like you never see that.
Because back then,
at least I don't ever.
It was like McDonald's before all this like gender neutrality, when you had Transformers if you're a boy, and you had fucking My Little Pony.
Yeah,
if you're a girl. Like it was like
that's exactly right.
There was no like blend of like badass female presence in media, and I gotta just mention out here, anime was one of the first platforms to ever make like women just
cold. Yeah. Another thing, another shout out to Japan for that, because it's like
American cartoons didn't have that.
Yeah, I mean, you had Wonder Woman.
Well,
and that's
it was
like,
based
and that's
on
like
bondage
it.
Shit.
Yeah,
like, we
and
don't
that's
want to
like
get
it.
into that.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
dude was kind of freaky deaky.
Slayers.
And, yes, and so
I love that,
okay.
bro.
So the last character I'll talk about is Amelia, which she was younger than Lena, but she was the same thing, like sorceress, but she specialized in white magic, but she was like really like hyperactive and annoying, and Lena would be like, man, get this bitch away from me. Like, I don't want this. You know,
Yeah.
But she would, you know, looked up to Lena because Lena like had, like I said, like she created her own magic like off scratch, like that, like some spells that were like super broken. She had like this one fucking spell that people said if she like ever let it go out of control that it would destroy the planet.
Okay.
And yeah, like she had this fucking big ass Giga Blast or something.
It'd have to be Giga because ain't nothing.
It was Giga something.
Yeah,
Giga
Giga's
Blast.
always anything in less than Giga, and it's like, can this really destroy the planet?
Yeah. And so this Amelia chick, and she had like a long ass fucking name after that. Amelia, a bunch of fucking, I don't know, royalty type names, fucking noble names after that. But so she specialized in white magic, where she used like buffs. She'd buff herself and then fight hand to hand with her buffs.
Wow. So, fuck yeah, dude.
It was a pretty cool
I'm
story.
here for it. Slayers.
So
this in the 90s?
Yeah, it's like a 26 episode anime, but then they had other. So the manga ran, I want to say the manga ran like 150 chapters or something. And so there was a second Slayers anime later that was
covering later parts of the story, but what wasn't like a continuation of the original.
But the animation style changed so much that it like turned me off. Where like the first version is like really like OG.
Yeah, that 90s like, aesthetic is undefeated.
The 90s aesthetic, that's exactly the words. Because then the later version was kind of it's not CG, but it felt like
it's kind of like Pokemon now.
I don't know if it's cell shaded. I won't.
Just a lot more computers involved.
Yeah, that's what it felt like. So I fucked with it, but I didn't fuck with it as much as the original. And it's just crazy because it's like, I remember there was like a couple, like there was like a bunch of these fucking tapes like my sister came up on, and like I don't remember where she even got them, but she had like Fushigi Yugi, Magic Knights Ray Earth. There's like a bunch of these like obscure anime that you would never have saw on TV, and you had to go buy VHS to get them. And you know, shout outs to the 90s buying VHS. If y'all saw that old episode, y'all still owe us. I'm telling you, I ain't never got nothing in my Venmo for y'all. Hey,
Venmo link is in the description, buddy.
Right. Y'all owe us dead ass, because me and my sister were buying this shit from Electronics Boutique and all that shit. $30 a tape with 3 episodes on that bitch. And
remember Suncoast? Y'all don't know.
Bro, of course we remember Suncoast. Come on, bro.
I wanted to swing on people at Suncoast. Dead ass. Charging me $30 for a fucking VHS.
You lucky I can't get this shit nowhere else, motherfucker. Here.
Yeah, you lucky y'all got some kind of monopoly going on in this bitch. I can't even use the internet at this time.
Hell yeah.
But Slayers was tight, you know, and Slayers. A lot of those anime at that time were good that we didn't really get unless you paid for them, and you had to go like out of your way and on a whim, because there was nowhere to see it. You just had to like go to the store and say, I like the cover of this.
Let me turn this in the back and get this bullshit premise.
I'm gonna read. Yeah, exactly right. Where it's like when you got something that hit that hard, you're like, how did I do this? I'm the best ever. I bought some fucking shit.
The first thing you do is put somebody on.
Like, hey, dead ass, y'all gotta see
like,
this.
I know you don't know nothing about this because I don't ever see you at Suncoast. So come on over my crib.
Unless you helping me, Act 2 popcorn, we about to kick it. Hot sauce in the bowl.
You didn't help me swing on Buddy at Suncoast trying to charge me $10 a fucking Pokemon starter pack. So like,
it's levels to this shit. Hell yeah, Slayers. Fuck yeah. What's your last pick, Klasik?
Last pick. Let me see here. I mean, we going classic, right?
Yep.
I did a lot of the other ones that I didn't mention yet, but if we're talking classic, I gotta bring up the all-powerful OP One Piece.
Hey,
because
it is classic.
It is classic.
It's a classic.
It's old enough to be a classic, but it's still currently ongoing.
This is a classic because this isn't a chronological pick for me.
Yeah.
This is something that actually I learned from from the homies. You know what I'm saying? Like later on, when I kind of went back into
that's me too. It's me too, buddy. Because I mean,
it's you, bro. You like you ain't read this. Bro?
He passed it off, but he ain't have it if it wasn't for me.
It's Kiko.
To be honest,
it's Kiko.
But I wouldn't have it if it wasn't for my sister. So
right. So here's the deal, right? Because
Trina the god.
Trina is the god, and she should be here. I'm always going to say it, and she will one day, and it'll be great. Yeah. But here's the thing, bro. So obviously, we're all coming out of the first time we saw One Piece was 4 kids, right? And Sanji had a lollipop, and he sounded like a stereotypical New Yorker,
didn't care,
and you know, and I'm
barrels,
like,
it just
barrels, and the Marines had squirt guns, you know what I'm saying, and like all of this shit, and I'm just like, what am I doing here, man?
My sister was gonna get beat up that night.
Yeah, you know.
We watched this One Piece. I was like, what the fuck is this shit? What
and you had that bullshit ass rap song, like, you know, like for the intro, you know, theme, and you know, and I'm sitting here and I'm watching the animation. I'm like, okay, we got to do it with swords. We got a motherfucker who's swinging on motherfucker, you know. I'm like, okay, and then you start watching it, and it's like, what is this about? Like, you know, and so you run away full speed away from it, right? And then it wasn't until Kiko is like, no, dude, he's like One Piece, he's like One Piece, yeah, he's like One Piece. I was like, One Piece.
Yeah.
Drake. I was like, One Piece, the shit where the motherfuckers sucking on lollipops and kicking with a suit on.
But that first One Piece dub was wild corny.
Like, it was horrible. Yeah, there's no way it was unbearable, right? But then
Gum blast, Gum rapid fire.
Yeah,
that's pistol. That's pistol and Gatling gun. Blast is pistol and rapid fire is Gatling.
Yeah, because it was so heavily censored, right? And that was just, you know, Americans trying to get their money while appealing to the biggest audience that they possibly fucking could. So they're like, you want to know what we're gonna
be the next Cybin or whatever.
They were just it's just like go fuck yourself, right? And so like you run away from that, and then Kiko comes to me 10 years ago now, was it? And you know, and he's like, no, bro. Trust me.
It's actually shit. It's
trust me. I was like, all right, fine. And I went and read it. So One Piece isn't one that I can really. I mean, it is a classic, but it's not nostalgic, right? I mean, the 4 Kids dub is nostalgic, but it has a very very negative light on it, right?
Definitely.
You know, so but it is a good pick. That's definitely worthy. And honestly, anytime One Piece is brought up on this show, it's going to get huge praise. But I feel like on an episode like this, I feel like most of the time that we talk about it has to be spent on how horrible the 4 Kids dub, because that is what we saw, you know, when we were kids.
The worst dub ever made.
The worst dub of all time, bro. And it's like, and it's so crazy how, you know, you still get that same nostalgic, like chill, like feeling when you like think about it, you know, because you picture yourself, you know, like in your basketball shorts, you know, with one sock on, one sock off, you know what I mean, with your, you know, with your beater on, with a, you know, you know, and
Black Force energy.
Yeah. All right, rounding off the personal picks, my last pick that we got here is something that I can't believe hasn't been a lightning round pick, and that I can't believe hasn't been brought up in the last episode. Fooly Cooley.
Hey!
I was gonna ask if
why didn't you say that yet,
bro?
I was gonna ask if we talked about that. I felt like we talked about it in the last one.
We didn't even touch on it at all, man. Like Fooly Cooley.
6 episodes of fire, right? 6 episodes.
6 episodes, bro.
It was super tight.
6 episodes.
Very thick with content. Like it was just good.
You got so much in such a small amount of time. Like you got, you know, family interactions, you know, with Naota, you know, and his dad and you know and Haruko and Mamimi, like all and everybody all kicking it around the table, and the grandfather too, you know, was there, and they're all talking about what Fooly Cooley means, you know, and like there's like a really cool comedy dynamic, you know, and you know, and the action is incredible, the animation is incredible, and the style of it is just something that like even if like you might not even be necessarily interested in what the fuck is going on, you're watching because that shit is so pretty, you know what I mean? And there were each episode, you know, is a standalone, you know, it feels like a standalone. There's an overarching plot, you know, but it feels like there was such a different story going on, you know, in each episode. Like the airsoft gun fight episode is one that like always comes to mind, you know, like it made me want to go out and get airsoft guns, you know what I mean, when I was younger. And obviously like you know, the dynamic between, you know, Mamimi and Haruko and Naota, which is like kind of like Tenchi Muyo reminiscent, you know what I mean, and there's there's just a lot of things like enough good things can't be said about the series, and it's one of the greatest, you know, shows of all time for a reason, and a classic. You know what I mean? And then when you finally see Artemis, the Pirate King, you know, the first Pirate King, you know what I mean?
Before our current Pirate King.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And like that fight where, wait, was it Pirate King? Yeah.
I want to say that it was. That makes sense.
Yeah, Artemis. Yeah, Artemis the Pirate King. Yeah, it's been a while since I've really gone through it, but yeah, man, in that final fight with the guitars, and the fact that guitars are weapons, you know what I mean? And and if you get hit with one, you spawn a Conti, you know what I mean? And just like the mech, like the Conti dynamic, bro, like, oh man, like just
the first time she hit him in the head with that guitar.
Yeah,
or the bass. It's a bass.
Yeah, well, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, she's rocking the bass.
And then he starts to get the horn, and then like it's coming out, and he's trying to push it back in. He puts the. It's like there's so many cool like storytelling like elements, you know, like that's just such an amazingly written, you know, story that it's hard to believe that there wasn't a manga that predated it. You know what I mean? At least I don't think so.
Episodes.
And that it's only 6 episodes.
That it does that much in that little of time, and that it's really like that iconic, and really, I feel like anybody who, I don't know, like fuck with that this golden age of, I don't want to call it golden age, but you know what I mean, like this age of anime, this age of anime, like it's not 90s rap, so I don't want to call it golden age, but you know what I mean.
It's not American comics either, so
you know, but I want to. It was kind of our golden,
it's our golden age, that's good.
Our golden that we might want to self-deem it that, but for that time, it's like a 6 episode where you were like, this really hits that hard in this amount of time. Where I would get mad at 26 episode animes that was all we're getting, like you know the Cowboy Bebops and shit. I'm like, man, this ends and it's cool, but I feel like I need more, and this leaves me wanting. Where Fully Cooley was like, this just hits perfectly for the amount of time it has, and that it's something different. It's like when especially like think about American cartoons. You never watched anything that was 6 episodes ever in your life that made that much, you know, that much of an impact on you, and that you know was that well done that you're like, okay. Things that only have 6 episodes are basically like a long movie that's actually tighter than a movie and better in a lot of ways. And that's when I started giving credence to like some of these smaller, you know, shorter animes when I wanted fucking 300 episodes. Or
right.
You know,
like you're looking for like that big plate, but sometimes there's like a couple of these smaller meals that are just as satisfying.
Right. Yeah, for sure. You know? And man, and the music in Fully Cooley, man, the ending theme.
The live picture of the moped, like
dude, I wanted that moped, the Vespa or whatever.
It was in like the pictures were taken in Japan. And like that, before then, I didn't really see what Japan looked like in my head. Like besides like just your generic Tokyo. Or something, like I don't know, just back then, like seeing those back streets and the way the roads looked, and they had like the picture of the moped like moving by itself down the road,
right.
And I don't know, that it just struck a chord with me. That's a definite classic.
100%.
I agree that you would, especially like I feel like maybe this is just me, but I probably think this is most people. When you think of Japan, when you're from America and you've never been there, you think of it as like feudal Japan, where you think of fucking, you know, clay fucking roofs with the fucking what, you know, little tiles and shit,
pagodas and shit.
Pagoda, slide, take your shoes off before you do anything in that bitch, you know, that kind of shit.
And I mean, like you still have some of those elements in like the setting that we get in Fully Cooley too, but I mean, like Fully Cooley, I feel like was the first like modern, you know, like, and I guess technically, I mean, I think it might be set in the future, but like it was like that. It wasn't like Neo Tokyo future, you know what I mean?
It helped you learn about Japanese culture, like now
a little bit,
century, right at the millennium or whatever you want to call it. I mean, like how baseball is over there. Like remember he wanted to be like his brother.
Oh yeah, the baseball angle too.
Like, there was a lot of like just extra. Like I feel like
before Fully Cooley, I didn't even know that Japanese people liked baseball.
Yeah. Well, that's wild. I mean, I play sports, so like I knew Japanese play baseball my whole life. But
I didn't.
Ichiro is one of the best hitters to ever live. But yeah,
and it just I do know that name. I do know that name. Yeah.
Ichiro was his only name.
Really? That's Ichiro, amazing.
Yeah. Played for Seattle.
That motherfucker reads manga.
Seattle Mariners. Yeah.
He's like they're like what? They're like just call like don't even worry. Like I just want to be called Ichiro.
Just Ichiro. That's it.
Yeah. He's the main character of his own story.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Ace of Diamonds or whatever.
King of Diamond No Ace. Yeah.
Diamond No Ace. Yeah.
For sure. Yeah, man, Fooly Cooley has to be brought up for sure, and I'm glad that we had that was a nice little discussion that we had on it. But yeah, man, I think we're gonna call it though, because this has been an incredible discussion. It's probably running pretty long. I'm definitely going to have to edit a lot of it, a lot of our conversation out, because there was a lot of tangents that we went on that that probably shouldn't make it into the show. But that was an incredible discussion, you guys. Thanks for joining me for it. Klasik, it's always great to have you on the show, man. Glad that we can finally. We do love you, and I'm glad that our schedules finally aligned, because you were supposed to be on the Swordsman episode, but we'll do part 2 of that too. So
I had notes.
Book. We'll do part 2. Yeah,
we'll got that tiny ass notebook.
We'll do part 2 of Swordsman, and we'll do part 2 of Martial Artists too, and we'll get you back on that for that too, because I know that's your shit too. But it was great to have you back for this. It was the stars just kind of aligned, you know what I mean? Like the first tie-in episode we ever did, you were here, and it was this subject. Season 2, it makes all the sense to start it off with the second iteration of this conversation. So that was great. Smash the like button if you enjoyed the video. Smash the subscribe button if you're new to the Project Manga podcast, and you can hit the bell icon next to subscribe, and we'll chirp y'all when the new video is live. Leave a comment in the box down below. Let us know what your favorite classic anime was, what your favorite cult classic series, what got you into, the fandom. All of that, and of course visit the link tree in the description below, and that's where you can see us on Spotify, Apple Music, wherever you get your podcasts. I'm gonna go ahead and sign off for the night. I'm your host Noxy.
It's your boy Kiko,
and guest star in Klasik. No.
And we'll catch y'all next time.
I